Did you know that in some parts of the world, people believe their own bodies can vanish or betray them under the grip of unseen forces? Or that in remote mountain villages, the human voice is shaped into haunting overtones that sound like they're echoing from another dimension? These aren't just stories. These are real traditions, real experiences, and very real mysteries that have baffled science for generations. Around the world, every culture has its secrets. Some are recorded in books, etched into stone, or sung through ancient songs. But others live in shadows passed down through rituals, hidden in sacred ceremonies, protected by time and belief. These unexplained cultural phenomena leave behind more questions than answers. They defy the boundaries of science and challenge what we think we know about the human mind, the spirit, and even the laws of nature. One such enigma lies in the rugged hills of Sardinia. Here, a centuries-old tradition continues, largely unchanged. Groups of men gather in dimly lit spaces. Standing close, their breaths synchronized, and then sound. But not just any sound. A chorus of vibrations rises, deep and hollow, resonating through the earth itself. It's known as Canto at Tenore, a vocal art where one man sings the melody while the others produce harmonic overtones that almost sound mechanical, like the hum of a machine fused with the voice of the earth. No one quite knows how this form of singing developed in isolation. There is no written history of it before the 20th century, and yet it feels ancient. Scientists have studied the acoustics, linguists have traced the dialects, but there is still no clear explanation for why or how the sound emerged in Sardinia and nowhere else like it. But sound isn't the only mystery. In Southeast Asia, fear itself has taken form in what's known as Koro Syndrome. In several documented outbreaks in Malaysia, China, Thailand, and most famously Singapore, in 1967, men have been gripped by the overwhelming belief that their genitals are shrinking, retracting, or being stolen by spirits. Some tie strings around themselves to prevent the perceived retraction. Others rush to doctors, sobbing in panic. These are not isolated hallucinations. These are mass events, with hundreds, sometimes thousands affected at once. Psychologists have labeled it mass hysteria, a culturally bound syndrome. But that label doesn't explain everything. Why does this phenomenon only appear in specific regions? Why does it vanish just as quickly as it spreads? And how can belief alone trigger such a physical and emotional response? Thousands of miles away, on the islands of Hawaii, another phenomenon walks the line between the physical and the supernatural. They are called the Night Marchers. According to Hawaiian legend, these ghostly warriors rise from their resting places and march through sacred paths at night, drums echoing in the distance. Those who see them are warned not to look directly at them unless they have ancestral ties or risk being taken. What is chilling is that many of the reported sightings come from people with no prior knowledge of the legend, yet their descriptions match perfectly. The glowing torches, the chanting, the silence that follows. Is it collective imagination? A shared cultural memory? Or something else entirely, tied to the land and its ancestors? In Turkey, another cultural mystery unfolds, not in fear but in divine ecstasy. The Whirling Dervishes are members of the Mevlevi order, a Sufi Muslim sect that believes in achieving closeness to God through a spinning dance. Dressed in white robes with long skirts, they spin for hours, eyes closed, heads tilted, hands open to the heavens. To onlookers, it's hypnotic. To scientists, it's baffling. Spinning even a few minutes can disorient the average person. Yet these dancers maintain perfect balance, entering a trance-like state with no signs of dizziness or fatigue. Studies have tried to understand the altered state of consciousness involved. Some call it spiritual dissociation, Others attribute it to breath control and mental focus. But none can fully explain the calm, the peace, and the physical control these dervishes achieved through whirling. And deep in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, a spectacle of ancient mystery unfolds during Singing festivals. Dozens of tribes, some of whom have never interacted with the outside world, gather in elaborate ceremonies to share stories, dance, and ancestral energy. Their bodies are painted in vibrant colors and geometric patterns designs that have been passed down for generations. But here's the mystery. Many of these patterns, found across separate tribes, share uncanny similarities. They depict animals, spirits, and figures no longer found in the region. How do isolated groups share the same symbolic language without contact? Where did these patterns originate and why do they feel so timeless? But among all these wonders, one phenomenon stands above the rest, not for its beauty, but for its power to blur the line between mind and body, culture and fear. Koro Syndrome, especially during the 1967 Singapore outbreak, reached a terrifying climax. Rumors spread that pork tainted by vaccines was causing the syndrome. Panic erupted. Men stormed clinics. Some even blamed supernatural forces. Authorities had to intervene through radio announcements, public education, and calm reassurance. But the twist? While modern doctors failed to cure it, traditional healers often could. One ritual, one blessing, and the symptoms vanished. Was it belief, suggestion, or does culture itself hold a power we don't yet understand? In the end, these cultural phenomena remain unsolved, not because we haven't studied them, but because they challenge the very framework we use to understand the world. They don't fit neatly into scientific categories. They don't follow the rules of medicine or logic. They belong to a different realm where story, spirit, memory, and tradition shape reality. And maybe that's what makes them so powerful. So, which one of these mysteries caught you off guard? The haunting marchers of Hawaii, the impossible voices of Sardinia, or the invisible terror of Koro Syndrome? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by the unknown as we are, don't miss our next deep dive into ancient prophecies that actually came true. Some of them might leave you speechless.